Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Omniverse Chronicles Unsinkable. Surprise, surprise, I'm back. I heard that the Crit Show was doing a Car from Brindlewood game, and they couldn't keep me away. I'm gonna go ahead and pass everything over to our GM Amanda. I'd like everyone just to introduce yourselves and say, introduce yourselves, your pronouns, anything about you that you'd like these lovely people to know.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm around in the RGB TTRPG space. I'm already nervous. I'm stumbling on my words. But I love hyping up games. I love having fun. I love the Crit Show. I spend a lot of time in the Carve from Brindlewood sphere. I am the editor in chief of a Carve from Brindlewood community zine that you should check out. It's called Sprigs and Kindling. And I'm really, really excited to be running the Between Unsinkable for everyone. This is going to be a really fun sneak peek at this game.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim. Surprise, I'm here. My pronouns are she, her. You would know me from my many, many long, happy years on the Crit Show. But also, if you are watching this and you're like, man, I love The Between. I want to hear more Kai from Brindlewood games. Or if you really liked Shadows in the Smoke, the show that I was doing on the Patreon, surprise! There's a cute little reboot of it that's going to be coming out tonight, midnight, on Tuesday, 12:01 a.m., right after we're done streaming. So go ahead and check it out. You can find that at Kitten Marlowe, KITTEN MARLOWE. That is an Elizabethan theater reference. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. My whole day is carved from Brindlewood. It couldn't get any better than this.
Hey, beautiful people. My name is Susan Quintana. I am a high school teacher by day and a writer and podcaster by night. You can find my podcast, Novel Games, on any podcast streaming service. And you can also find me on Instagram to come chat all things writing and cute animals at neither right nor wrong. That's right with a W, because I'm a writer. Percy.
She's so smart. She's so fun. And then I have to follow up after that. My goodness. Hi, I'm I'm Percy Davis. Big, sweet, lovable guy. I don't do cool tabletop RPG stuff all the time. I'm very fortunate that the Crit Show has me here on the Omniverse Chronicles. My pronouns are he, him. You can catch me at the Big Purse Universe, typically on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on whatever other thing comes out. Former professional wrestler, current professional wrestling commentator. You can see me on independentwrestling.tv or Fight TV. When? I don't know. I do not know. The bookings just show up. All right. I get the email and I say yes.
Percy's offer only.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why we're so lucky to have him here.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I got the message and I was like, yeah, absolutely. I have no idea what we're doing. Why are we here?
Yes, Amanda, why are we here? Tell us about Unsinkable.
That is a great question. We are here to play The Between Unsinkable. Now, this is a The Between hack that has not been released yet. It's going to appear in Sons of Another World in the Kickstarter edition of The Between that should be out soon, hopefully. And it is written by Wes Franks, who actually will be joining us next week. They were unable to join us today, but we will have Wes soon enough. Of course, The Between is written by Jason Cordova, and I think I'm just going to dive right into the cats.
Dive.
I'm going to
Unsinkable.
dive. Unsinkable. I'm
Yeah.
also unsinkable. As you can tell, I'm the captain today. So you can call me captain if you want. I am just clicking
Captain, if
into...
you're nasty, honestly.
If you're nasty. I'm assuming everybody watching this stream is nasty, because it is The Between.
The Between is a famously horny game.
It is famously horny. Now, just to let you know about what this game is about, I'm going to do a thing called CATS. CATS is an acronym for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. The purpose is to establish basic expectations for this game and what we'll do during this first session. I'm just going to read it straight off. Concept. The Between Unsinkable is a tabletop role-playing game about a group of passengers on board an ocean liner, the RMS Chronos, at the turn of the century. The RMS Chronos has launched from Liverpool and is on her maiden voyage to New York City. It's currently making its way across the North Atlantic, a part of the ocean that is home to a series of strange occurrences and obstacles, things natural, supernatural, and manufactured. The player characters, which are a group of crew and passengers called the Ballast class, experience certain events along their voyage and conduct their research or investigations into what is causing them. They eventually will become aware of a force behind the scenes that sometimes connects to the events. This force, this mastermind, is manipulating the passengers and crew to its ends. Eventually, maybe not in this campaign because we're only doing 5 sessions, the Ballast class will face this mastermind and either follow its schemes or save the ship and themselves. The Between Unsinkable takes direct inspiration from the TV show 1899 and other nautical and sci-fi themed programs like the Poseidon Adventure, Titanic, and Dark. It also takes inspiration from real-life events and maritime legends. The game's mechanics are based on Apocalypse World, Brindlewood Bay, and The Between, but you don't need to know anything about those games before we play. The aim. The characters in the story aim to keep the RMS Chronos afloat by investigating the various events occurring and learning how to rectify them. Our objective as players is to learn more about the character's mysterious past and paint a vivid picture of our version of the RMS Chronos, its inhabitants, and that is a responsibility we're all going to share. So this is a storytelling game in that all of us are part of the storytelling.
Oh my gosh. Keep going. There was just a very loud alert. I gotta mute that. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, wow. We got a gift sub. That's wonderful.
I had it muted. What? Keep going.
Sorry, I got totally distracted, but that's okay. We're all a very distracting bunch here. We're all beautiful. It's not our fault. The aims for today's session are to create and introduce our characters, learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then have a little debrief period at the end. The tone of the Between Unsinkable is tragic, bizarre, and isolating. There are going to be some moments of humor to break the tension, and that's okay, but we're always going to try and return to that gloomy, mysterious place that we're trying to inhabit the characters in. Subject matter. Now, infamously, The Between is a horror game. So we have potential subject matter of isolation, mind-body control, sexual themes, alcoholism and addiction, war-related trauma, threats to children, although that is veiled. We'll get into that in just a moment. Class and financial discrimination, foul language, starvation, body horror, and violence. These can all come up in this game. We're going to talk about safety tools in just a second, but in the interest of setting expectations now, you should know that this game does deal with dark and intense subject matter. We are using safety tools, of course, because we are a group of cool people and no game is more important than the people playing it. So we have the safety tools open door in play. That means any one of us can leave the game for any reason. We don't have to explain ourselves. We're just go if you have to go. We're hoping people, if you do need to go, just let us know you're going so that we know to take a break or something like that. If you plan on coming back, that's also good to know. But we're not going to judge you if you have to leave. We're also going to be using the X card. The X card is in case something in the game makes you uncomfortable. Because this is a horror game, that could come up. If you have anything that you want to X, anything you need to change, anything that's making you uncomfortable in the not fun way, all you have to do is hold up your arms in an X or send me a message in chat or anything like that to get our attention. You can even just say X card out loud and that'll work for me. We will then stop what's happening and change whatever needs to be changed. I'm not going to ask you why you're X carding something, but I'm probably going to need to know what needs to change. So just so we can keep things moving on and make you more comfortable. Finally, we are using lines and veils. Lines and veils are a tool that's actually built into the character keeper that we're using, which is very exciting for us. Lines are hard stops. They're hard limits. They will not be included in the game, period. They will not happen. We have lines on. We did this beforehand, so it's already set up. But we have lines on homophobia and transphobia, so that is not going to happen in this game. We also have lines on sexual assault and sexual violence, so they will not appear in this game at all in any form. We also have veils. Veils are things that we're okay with being in the game, but we don't want to really focus on them. We don't want to role play it. We want to sort of pan the camera to the window and then the curtains blow, that sort of thing. We have veils on harm to children, harm to pet and domestic animals, harm to pregnant people, intimate partner violence, and that's it. We also have some ask first, so that if we try to introduce something into the game, if you have a reason to introduce it, and if that thing involves PC betrayal, is player character betrayal, or spiders, just double check with us before. We'll check with the whole table and see if everyone's okay with that before we throw it in. We also have some interests on our list here. We have some interests in classism, religion and cults, romance, and rats. And I think
Who put that one?
Who put that one in? Who could have been that person? Famous rat lover.
I love rats.
Whew. All right, I'm going to take a little sip of water, and then we're going to get into character creation. Now, we have made our characters already. We did it before because it takes really, really little time. But there's still a couple of things that we still need to do. We need to assign each other items for our, it's not the personal quarters in this, but I'm going to call it that every time, cabin footlocker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everybody, we're going to go in the character keeper order, and I'm going to get you to read out the description of your character, your playbook. I want your character's name and pronouns, their look, their vice, and I don't know, maybe like a little bit something about how they've set up their quarters to feel more homey for them. Or something like that, or how they've spent their day so far on the ship. Just something, a little narrative special thing for us to get an idea of what your character is like. Susan, would you like to start?
I'd love to. I am playing Elga. Any pronouns for her are just fine. The playbook is the Stoker. You lived for ages as an elemental of Earth near a small Eastern European town. You were stoic and unnoticed guardian of the people there, and they brought you gifts to your home until they forgot about you. You became untethered and you wandered until one day you heard of a place where dreams come true, a land of milk and honey, where opportunity was plentiful. So you took a job as a stoker on the Chronos to make the journey to America, establishing roots for you to start a new life. Now you are instrumental in making sure the ship stays in motion. Stokers shovel coal from piles into the furnaces that power the steam engines. Most of the job is hard physical labor that would break a weaker person, but you have something to work towards. During the game, you will manifest your strength and heart to ensure no obstacle stands in the way of your and the other passengers' investigations. Play the Stoker if you want to be a strong and determined entity that wishes to push forward to the end goal, no matter what. Elga is a mountain of a woman. She's 6.5 feet tall. She wears a dusty and tattered tank top, and a pair of dark pants, maybe some suspenders, maybe not. It depends on the kind of day they're having. Her hands are always rough, covered in coal. Her hair is long and dark with streaks of gray in it. Whether the gray is from age or from where she works, unclear. Her hands are rough and cracked, and nothing that she does can fix that. But when she isn't wearing her work gloves, you can see across her knuckles a tattoo that is hard to read. And everywhere she goes, the smell of sulfur follows her. Oh, wait, my vice. Where's my vice? I'm scrolling through the character keeper.
Your vice is up
Oh,
by
That's
your
very
left.
top.
It's
I lost
right
my
next to it.
vice. My vice.
She is without vice.
Wow,
I wish
incredible.
it was so tempting for me to pick the vice of fresh bread because ev
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I had to go with my heart, and my vice is singing.
Nice.
Incredible.
Oh,
Well, or just in general?
how we'll find out.
I think
Oh,
anyone should
I love
just
it.
sing. Yeah.
That's a night move.
Yeah. Um, I have a hideaway in the bowels of the ship. That's where I stay. I don't have a room or a cabin. I've made this space for myself. It is cramped and there are little baubles around. Lots and lots of very soft things. Um, Blankets, jackets, a little toy that I think maybe a child lost on the ship that she found and didn't bother to figure out who it belonged to. And so I think she when she's not working, she spends most of her day just kind of curled up amidst her things, and that might be where she's been for most of the day.
Outstanding. So, players, now that we know a little bit more about Elga, what sort of item do you think that they would have in their cabin footlocker? We all get to assign one thing to the cabin footlocker, and when Susan is playing, she can use that item if she can find a narrative reason to use it to get advantage on her roll.
Elga, I think you have a little straw doll that was made in your image that was given to you by a child in your village.
I think you
Aw.
also have a little. What are those little pinwheels called? They're just pinwheels, right? You have a little
Yeah.
colorful pinwheel.
Yeah. I think you have a music box, and I think the way that you obtain that is questionable.
For sure.
Outstanding. Well, now that you have some items to work with, let's move on. Kim, why don't you give us an overview of your character?
Sure. Do you want to know things like our playbook moves or anything at this point, or?
I think we'll leave out the playbook moves for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So just your character, your playbook description,
Mm-hmm.
your character's name, pronouns, your look, your vice, and maybe something a little bit about their quarters or what they've been doing today so we can get an idea of what they're like.
Fantastic. I would like to introduce you all to the Viscountess Burgundy. She has already made a name for herself on the RMS Chronos for her, some would say, maximalist fashion style. Does one really need to wear a fur coat and seemingly every piece of jewelry that they own all at once? The Viscountess Burgundy says yes. She is slender. She's wearing clothes that maybe a keen eye might note don't quite fit her as well as maybe a couture garment should. She's about 5'3" and pretty thin. She has short blonde hair, kind of cut to her chin. But again, a keen eye would note some dark brown roots. It looks as though maybe she's not quite as much of a natural blonde as she is trying to pass herself off as. And her eyes are always wide and darting, as if every room that she enters, she's trying to make sure that she knows how to get out of that room. The Viscountess Burgundy is aboard the RMS Chronos because she is stopping in New York and then heading immediately to Corsicana, Texas, because she has quite the wealthy oil claim that is awaiting her once she arrives in Texas. She is also famous for being a bit of a futurist, an engineer, and an inventor. Now that's the Viscountess Burgundy. Let me tell you about the socialite. The socialite reads as such: "You were always a pretty little thing, beautiful, with a penchant for dressing up and manipulating others with your voice, stare, and good looks. Though born in squalor and having to work hard for what you have, you lucked out and became the object of affection for an aging minor noble. Unlucky for you, during one of their visits, they selfishly passed away of a heart attack during your lovemaking. You panicked, and now you are a wealthy and well-connected business person in the first class on the Chronos. You have taken the identity of your dead lover and now stand to gain their fortune, opening doors for you in America that would normally be closed. Through the art of lying, cheating, and swindling, you have enjoyed the taste of lavish luxury and refused to relinquish that hold. Little did you know, the heir to your false identity's wealth is pursuing you and has finally caught up to you on the RMS Chronos. So the Viscountess Burgundy, or Charlie, I suppose, playing the Viscountess Burgundy, she is residing in, of course, the most lavish first-class suite upon the RMS Chronos that is filled with beautiful pieces of art, hand-carved furniture, an exquisite collection of gowns, and of course is maintained by the Viscountess Burgundy's loyal servant, who goes by Freddie, who is actually Charlie's best friend Winifred in male drag.
Insane. Also, the only note I took down for that was dangerous nookie. So that's all I wrote down. Just I was like danger, and it's in all caps.
What a way to go!
What a way to go! Insane.
But as far as the two of you know, I'm just the Viscountess. You don't know anything.
Yes,
about
we know none of that.
No.
Outstanding. So, what do we all think would be in the Viscountess Burgundy's cabin footlocker?
Oh man.
I think you have a set of lockpicks.
Absolutely.
That's a good one. You said that. What did you say about the person that you're copying? Was there any
she's
additional details or no?
She's quite the well-known, if a bit reclusive, engineer, inventor, and futurist.
I think you have the blueprints to a piece of technology that is like going to be revolutionary.
Oh, fantastic!
Like it's something that it can very well change everything that we know, like escalator levels of technology.
Yes.
It's a blueprint for escalators.
I'm inventing the escalator. It's gonna be
on
big.
this boat, and it just only goes down.
You have a book, and inside the book there is a lock of someone's hair that you're using as a bookmark.
Fantastic.
Romance.
Gross.
Oh, very different reactions between
Yeah,
me
sorry.
and Percy.
Okay, sorry, my bad. we read different books. I apologize.
I just read a lot of horror, so oh no.
What book, whose hair? Let's find out when Kim uses the item.
I don't even know yet.
Don't
We'll
worry
find
about
out.
it. Let's move on to Percy. Percy, tell us about your character.
Oh man. So we have a decently heighted, dark-skinned gentleman with tired eyes. Some of the thickest bags you've ever seen under a human being's eyes. A rumpled black suit that very patched together, barely fitting his frame. Definitely looks like it was made for someone a lot bigger than him. And always on his person is this ratty leather doctor's bag. And this African American gentleman's name is Dr. Alonzo Pierce Jr. And he is as talented, I believe, in his own right as he is exhausted. I was trying to think about the right way of it. I think that's it for the looks, so I'm just going to read what the doctor is. You are a brilliant young doctor who was groomed to become a personal physician for a noble family. This has been destined for you since you were very little. After graduating with top honors from a prestigious medical school, you were contacted by the illustrious Panacea Foundation, a collective of brilliant surgeons, pharmacists, chemists, and more that treat the world's most wealthy and important patients. The foundation's methods are kept heavily guarded from the public eye, but as its newest member, you have been told their greatest secret. All of the world's most revered doctors are a part of a collective consciousness called the Strands. When a doctor joins the Panacea Foundation ranks, their mind is connected to the other members' consciousness through a strand network that allows them to share information and memories amongst each other on a whim. These doctors are then sent to noble families across Europe and Asia to ensure the health of these important people. This is a tremendous discovery that has changed the course of medicine, and you are at the very heart of it. You were given the very first assignment to a family living in New York City and have set out on the RMS Chronos to meet them as soon as possible. But there's one small issue. The farther you travel away from your home, the more you feel the strands tense and snap. There's no way to know if this is expected or normal. But one thing is certain: the more strands you lose, the more you can feel yourself becoming unraveled, and eventually, there will be nothing left.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
No
Such a
big
weird
deal.
playbook.
It's the weird.
Uh,
It's so wild.
Yeah, like that. That was what drew me to it. I was again. I know I have no medical background whatsoever, but yeah, magic brain attachment to other crazy doctors. Sign me the f up. Yes, please.
Outstanding.
Forgot to mention, my vice is smoking. And despite all of my medical knowledge, I'm still just a man.
I forgot to mention that my vice, the Viscountess Burgundy, is a surprisingly adept shark at darts.
Now that we know a little bit about Dr. Pierce Jr., what do we think is in his cabin footlocker? I already have an idea. I'm going with a classic The Between item, and you have a flesh terrarium.
It had to be one of us.
Save one more time. I couldn't
Flesh?
hear you with my good ear.
Flesh terrarium. Flesh as in meat, terrarium as in terrarium.
It's up to you as to what you think that is.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. You'll figure out a use for it, I'm sure. I believe in you.
Thank you.
I believe that you have a small sketchbook that you can fit in your pocket and an equally small little set of paints.
That's something reasonable.
Yeah.
Something normal.
Wait, flesh terrariums aren't normal?
No.
They
don't
show
think-
up in almost every The Between game.
Yeah.
They have to be a little normal.
That doesn't make me feel better.
It was your graduation present from the Panacea Foundation. You got hooked up to the strand and you were given your honorary flesh terrarium.
Aww.
You also have a pretty decent sized amethyst crystal.
I love that this means crystal healing, which a hive mind doctor would absolutely use. That's awesome.
There's one out there. There's
Dr.
one
Pierce.
crystal. There's one crystal girl, like, just in the back of my mind, where she's just like, rub the crystal on their chakras, and it's like his leg is broken.
But what
Dr.
if it
Pierce is
works?
out here about to try to sell us essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. This is so great. So now we have a better idea of what kind of characters are going to be playing in this game. I am going to go ahead and introduce the first threat. After I introduce it, we'll take a little break so you can think about what you want to do, how you want to approach this threat. But let's get into it. The first threat we're going to be having to deal with is called a siren's serenade. The cold night air whipped in stark contrast to the warmth and merriment found inside the grand ballroom of the RMS Chronos. Today is the birthday of popular composer Armand Toussaint, and the celebration is in full swing. A full orchestra is assembled to perform in Toussaint's honor, and the whole ship is abuzz with celebrative spirit. Elga, you tend to hang around the edges of parties, never feeling quite confident in the midst of them. What happened at a previous major celebration that changed your opinion of parties forever?
In a good way or a bad way, or is that for me to choose?
You go right ahead and choose, yeah.
Okay. So, while I was skirting the edges of a party, keeping to the shadows and even stepping behind maybe some very long window curtains, um, someone spotted me, one of the passengers, an aristocrat, and things got violent. He thought I was a stowaway. I was a dark person at the edges of the crowd who looked very dangerous. And so I I decided that it was just too risky to attempt to be any part of them. I don't particularly like picking glass out of my hands.
Don't blame you. That sounds uncomfortable. Um, so everything was light and fun at this party until a lookout spotted a crew member fall overboard. And then another. And then another. It wasn't much longer until the music filling the night sky was not coming from the party inside, but screams from the waves themselves. Fish-like humanoid forms began to be spotted, and cries of warning were made across the ship. These sea people have begun to circle the ship, seemingly prepared to board. You have 2 questions and opportunities. I'm going to put them in our Discord chat. The first question is, what is the source of the song? The complexity for this is 2, which means you need to have at least 1 clue to try and answer the question. And if you have 2, you get to roll 2d6 plus 0 in order to try and answer it. If you have 3, you can roll 2d6 plus 1. Every clue you get above 2 adds a plus 1 to your answer the question roll when it comes to that. We'll get into that later. But the question is, what is the source of the song? Complexity 2. And that will open up the opportunity to find a way to prevent any more passengers or crew from going overboard. Your second question is, how can we appease the sirens? Complexity 6. And this will unlock the opportunity to resolve the threat by finding a way to get rid of the sirens. There is a special rule with this. For those of you familiar with the Between, you might know why this is so important. For those that are not, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. The special rule is that this threat takes place purely in the night phase to simulate it taking place throughout one night. That means we are starting in the night phase. The night phase is a more dangerous part of the game. Things are
Amanda.
scarier, things are harder. This is going to be great. I was going to start you in the night phase no matter what, and then I read threat and I was like, this is perfect.
Let's do it.
What did we do to you? What did we? Okay, Kim.
You agreed to play
Calm
a
down.
game with me.
I did.
Percy, this is
I'm
going to
gonna
be
cause you
one
problems.
hell of an introduction to the Between. Buckle up.
Yeah.
All right. There's also a mask associated with this threat. Now, masks of the past and masks of the future are the Between elements called the Janus masks that you can invoke in order to bump a roll. If you roll, let's say, a miss when trying to investigate something, you can invoke one of your Janus masks, because each playbook has a set of masks of the past that talk about their past, and masks of the future that talk about how the ship is affecting them. If you invoke one of those masks, you mark it off, you narrate what the prompt tells you to do, and you can bump your roll up to the next successful level. So if you roll a miss, you bump it up to a complicated success. If you roll a complicated success, you can roll it up to a complete success. There is a mask that you can use while this threat is active, and once the threat is no longer active, you cannot use it anymore. This is called the Mask of the Virtuoso. Now, you can find this mask in the Character Keeper under the threat. along with all of the other information about this threat. I pasted it all in there. But if you scroll down to underneath the clue section, it tells you what the mask is. The prompt on this one is each ballast class narrates a time they worked on something tremendously hard, only for it to be met with overly negative reception.
Oh, I love it.
It's a good one, right?
That's good.
So many ideas.
I got it.
So that is our first threat. We're going to go ahead and take a little, maybe like a 10-minute break. I feel like that seems good enough for everybody to refill their water, figure out what they want to do. When we get back, I'll ask you how you want to start investigating this problem. I'll give you some leads if you need them.
And you roll to cry.
That, you know what? That's
Free.
not even a roll. You can just cry. It's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. I'll give you advantage on it.
I don't need it. That's what my trauma's for.
And luckily you're playing the between, so all of the characters are deeply traumatized.
We're all traumatized.
Oh, all right. We'll see you all in about 10 then.
See you there, crew.
All right, everybody, welcome back and welcome to the night phase. Now, one thing that happens in the night phase, and I'll like to drag your attention, please, players, to your dawn questions. Dawn questions are how you get XP. That's sort of up near the top, just under your conditions. Now, one of the dawn questions is, did you experience an echo in the night? An echo in the night is a special night phase thing. During the night phase, we have a scene to narrate. I'll be giving you prompts, and in these scenes, you narrate what's happening on a different shipwreck, or a different ship maritime disaster. Maybe not maritime, I think that's just the Maritimes. Anyway, a different ship disaster or a different ship problem. And if you get an echo in the night, that is, if you reference something during your gameplay phase, the night phase, that references something even thematically, in the prompts, the answers to the prompts, you'll get XP. It sounds very confusing, but very simply put, if during one of the prompts you narrate a sailor going overboard in order to save the rest of the boat, the crew in the emergency boat, to keep it from capsizing, let's say. And then later on in the night phase, you narrate maybe even your character charging out of a room or charging into a room in order to save the rest of the people in the room. I would say that that's thematically similar enough that you have an echo from the unseen into the gameplay. It can work the other way around too, where you can use something that's happened in the night phase so far to inform your prompt. The prompt that we're going to do for the unseen today is actually not in this game. This is one that I wrote for a different game, but it works here. So this is a brand new one.
Oh, God.
If you go to Ghosts of the Atlantic, the Unseen, and scroll down on that tab to row 31, we're going to be doing the sinking of the Antelope. The Antelope, a sloop in Halifax captained by Elsa Barrett, has sorry, I'm already laughing at my own silly jokes, has received a letter of marque from the British Crown to sail the Atlantic in hopes of appropriating gold and treasures from American ships. The 20-man crew, recruited from local fishermen, are told that there be no face-to-face fighting, no gunfiring, no tears shed, just adventure and honor in the name of the crown. The Antelope is docked in Halifax to prepare for its voyage. Upon close look, it's clear that she has a list to the port side, and the headsail and mainsail on the single mast are in rags. Paint the scene. This is for everyone to narrate. What else about the Antelope makes it evident that it's the scummiest vessel you've ever seen?
I think it's the smell. Ordinarily, ships are kept quite clean, swabbing the deck and all of that, but it's so evident that this ship is so, like, poorly maintained that even that basic chore has fallen by the wayside, and they're just letting the ship rot, essentially.
I think the is this a ship big enough to have like a captain's wheel?
Oh, yeah.
It has one handle. Like out of all those, like how they have like 10 or whatever, there is one. And so there is one. Every other one has been it has either been cracked off, sawed off, burnt off. There is a tail for each one of those handles missing.
The cargo that is being carried onto the ship, you see crates of things that should be on a ship, fresh fruits and vegetables to combat, illness. But if the camera zooms into one of the crates that someone is carrying, you see that even before making it to the galley, the lemons inside the crate are already starting to rot.
Awesome.
Great.
Disgusting. I also like the call to the lemons. That just seems like a funny aside or a reference to a conversation we had off camera. That's fun. So,
Hit me up after if you want to know about that.
so we're now in the night phase. I think the bunch of you are all currently in the grand ballroom. Up until this moment, it's been a very pleasant party. Now, Elga, I know that you are not super comfortable with parties, as we've talked about before. When the screaming starts, how do you feel?
There is a there's a headspace that I shift into when I hear the sounds of panic and screaming, and it is very like disconnected, and I emerge from where I was hiding so that I could still hear the violin playing because I can't miss something like that. And I just become this wall, and I quickly enter into like where the no, we're in the ballroom. I enter into the ballroom, I go through, and I try to make it towards an egress where I can see these creatures coming up along the side.
I'd like you to take the condition disconnected.
Okay. Great. I love it. Thanks.
Viscountess.
I did this to myself.
Yes.
Viscountess, what were you doing in the moments before the screaming started?
Well, I was at the very center of the party, of course, and I was probably extremely drunk because, as you know, the maestro and I were extremely close friends. In fact, some would say that I even threw this party in his honor.
You did you?
I did, yeah.
All right. Well, if that's true, which it's not, but if that's true, I don't believe it. And I would like you to take the condition drunk.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Dr. Pierce, the moment the screaming starts, I imagine your doctor training kicks in. How do you react when you see somebody go over the side?
I believe the first thing is snapping in to action and calling out to whatever level of authority he can find, because this isn't being a doctor. He knows his role. His role is, once that man is out of the water, I can help him from there. So first thing would be calling out, just like, man overboard, like just letting everybody know.
I would like you to take the condition man overboard.
Very specific.
Hopefully
Very
not a
specific edition.
portent of doom.
Don't worry about it. Doom in this game, I don't think that's going to happen. I think everyone's going to be fine. So you are in the ballroom. Now, the grand ballroom has marble tiling taken from Italy and hand placed specifically for this ship to make a sleek and beautiful dance floor. The center is surrounded by engraved Greek cypress columns depicting scenes from the myths of Theseus. And this is Ship of Theseus. I just got the joke. Okay. Overhead is a stained glass dome with a night sky motif, and it showcases all the different constellations. Paint the scene for everyone. What risque scenes, including different creatures like satyrs and nymphs, do we see carved into the walls surrounding the ballroom?
We see beautiful sirens, but like in the like gorgeous like bare-breasted ladies sirens that are sort of calling out and beckoning to the sailors that are on the ship. And we see a sailor who is at the captain's wheel, and he has tied himself to it to prevent himself from joining the sirens.
There's absolutely got to be a Zeus and the Swan somewhere, like very artfully hidden, so you think maybe the swan is a cloud until you look at it for too long.
And then there's definitely, I'm going to imagine either, if not a satyr or a Dionysus, and they are surrounded by numerous folks in different stages of dress, drink, and even violence and madness.
There is the sound of hurried footsteps, and the captain rushes up to the trio of you standing outside the grand ballroom, watching the people fall, dive, climb into the water. It is the captain. Captain Strom is here, and she and she says to you, "What's going on? Why is everyone jumping overboard?"
Well,
I see these
I was gonna say,
creatures. Are we under attack?
I was just gonna say, is he aware of? Can he also see the creatures? I want to make sure we're not going loco.
yeah, how drunk am I?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not invisible or
yeah.
figments. No, they're real.
There was some kind of singing, screaming, wailing, or what have you out there, and then the men just went mad, just started jumping for it.
I
How
thought at first perhaps they were just very drunk. We were having a wonderful time at the party, and then I don't know.
I promise you, the punch was not spiked to that kind of level, and I understand these are very able-bodied men. I've been doing the checkups all week, the entire time we've been here. That is devilry out there, and I'm just like pointing out to the water where I see giant fish people.
Well, we have to do something. What about the people down below? Are they opening up the windows and diving out? Is the ship safe?
I'm going to step up to the captain and I tower over him and I lean down. The expression on my face is very dour. And I say, "Captain, get back to your post."
Can you, the three of you, can you handle this? Are you sure you can handle this?
Yes. Go. Before you go over the edge too.
And the captain gives a short, curt nod, steps away, looks back with sort of a furtive glance at the water, a glance at the Viscountess,
Go.
shakes their head and flees the scene.
Elga, darling, I do so love it when you take that tone with the captain.
This isn't happening. This isn't happening. There has to be a reasonable explanation for this. Some kind of disease in the water, some kind of.
Doctor, haven't you ever
spray.
heard there exists more in heaven and earth than exists in your philosophy?
Oh, I apologize, but I'm sitting on Earth right here, right now, and these ain't from here. So we gotta. If you so believe they belong in heaven and or hell, we must send them back. Where's there? Got to be some kind of weaponry, something on here. But we also have to find a way to protect ourselves from this.
Well, yes, of course, but also I think we should be making sure that no one else falls overboard.
Do I see anyone around us who is making a run to like join the people jumping off the edge?
I'm going to say yes, and depending on what you want to do, the reaction is probably going to be a night move. You see a person, you see Gavin Coolidge, the violinist, black
No,
tuxedo,
not the violinist.
no tie, because he can't really breathe at those things. He smokes like a chimney. He smokes even more than the good doctor, I swear, but can play a violin better than the devil himself. Gavin is running from the ballroom towards the edge of the ship. What would you like to do?
Oh, Elga sees her violinist going and she says, "No, not on my watch." And I would like to tackle his ass, please.
Now, this is a night move. This is going to be a night move with vitality. What are you afraid is going to happen if you don't succeed?
I don't think that there's any worry that she can't grab him. Like, of course she can grab him. She knows what she is. I think the fear is that when I tackle him, I hurt him. Like I break something that I didn't mean to when I tackle him.
Yeah, it's worse than that. When
Sure
you
is.
tackle him, you break something of his back, and the both of you go over the edge.
Ooh.
Would you
All
like
right.
to, knowing the consequences of your action if you do not succeed, are you still willing to go through with this roll?
Oh, hell yeah.
If you have an item in your cabin footlocker that you think can help you in any sort of narrative fashion, you can use it to gain advantage.
Can you tell me what I'm rolling with first so I can
Vitality.
see if... Okay, so I don't think I'm going to use anything.
That is reasonable. Now, you're feeling a little disconnected, unfortunately, which means that your oh my gosh, why can't I think of words? The rate of response of your body is slower than it normally would be. So I think you're actually taking this at disadvantage.
Okay, great.
Disadvantage in this case, dear listeners and watchers, means that Susan has to roll 3d6, pick the lowest 2, and then add her vitality stat.
Yep.
That for us.
Well, I guess I'm going overboard.
Woo!
Because that's a 3.
We're going to cut over to the Viscountess. Viscountess Burgundy, what are you doing during all of this?
Well, I imagine that I would be... Because several people have gone overboard, right?
Yes.
And surely I know some of these people. They can't all just be crew people that, you know, like they just come in and out of your lives. And it's never...
Some of them are actually important
Yes,
people.
some of them could actually be first-class passengers. So presumably I would know some of them. So I would like to go towards towards like their social circle and ask those people, like, was that individual like acting suspiciously? What were the circumstances? What happened right before they just like made a break for the railing?
I think this is an investigation move. So I'm just going to quickly pop open your stats here. Oh, I had the wrong character keeper open. I'm doing great at everything. So you're doing an information move, which is when you search for a clue or conduct investigations or anything like that. I think in this case, you are going to be rolling with your presence in order to really make sure that you sell that you are part of these people and they should be talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a roll with presence.
I hate to make my life more difficult, but I am really drunk right now.
You are really drunk right now, and I think that is a problem.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me that you should probably roll this advantage.
Probably.
But if you have an item in your cabin footlocker, that would be helpful. You can roll it as a straight roll. It would cancel out the disadvantage.
Nah, let's just see what happens.
All right, let's go.
Good luck. I believe in you.
7.
Kim's got a 7. Dr. Pierce, all of this is happening around you, and it's happening so fast. What are you doing?
I think that I'm risking looking out at the creatures again. Having studied biology, I'm trying to take like note of anything I would notice about them. Anything that if I gotta fight them if they come up here, anything that I can do to prevent them from getting up here.
Yeah.
Kind of analyzing.
Are you trying to understand what these creatures are, or are you trying to prevent them from getting up there?
I'm trying to understand what they are. Because, like, these things popped out of nowhere and immediately everything went to hell. So it's like, what are these and why are they doing this?
Absolutely. I think this is also an information. I would like you to roll with your reason, because you're using your reasonable abilities to do so. But because you have the condition man overboard, you are getting a real bad sense of vertigo as you are looking down. So I'm actually going to change this now to the night move. So this is a night move.
Oh boy.
What are you afraid will happen if you do not succeed at what you're trying to do?
I am afraid that I'm trying to get a better look at these creatures. And I'm afraid by peeking over at them, I'm going to get too close of an encounter with them.
It's worse than that. They're going to see you peeking over, and they're going to take a special interest in you. You do have man overboard. I'm still going to let you roll with reason, but it is at disadvantage. So roll 3d6, take the lowest 2, and add your reason stat.
How about I burn one of my Mask of the Past? Would that help give me advantage?
Oh, I still get to narrate it.
You still get to narrate it?
Yeah, you don't. You can do that after
Yeah.
if you roll poor.
All right, cool.
Or if you want to change your roll. But if you have an item in your cabin footlocker that you think would give you an advantage here, and you can find a narrative reason to use it, you don't have to have it like on your person. You can just find like, oh, I was thinking about my flesh terrarium and how fleshy and wonderful it is, and it gave me strength, or something like that. Maybe something better than that.
What a sentence. What a horrible sentence. So like what I think the paints. I think the tiny little sketchbook. I think that in my time in university, obviously studying the sciences and biology, that I would have sketched into those at some point. Some kind of diagram, anything, some creature that's biological while we were doing the dissections and everything like that. So I think I have notes on that from the small sketchbook.
Smart. Yes, that's really, really good. I think you cancel out your disadvantage and you can do just a straight roll. So give me a 2d6 plus your reason.
All right. So then that is an 8, or no, that's a 6 plus 2, 8.
8. We're going to go back to our unseen now. All of the unseens in this case, this one's a little bit weird. I wrote it weird. all paint the scenes, so they're all for everyone to narrate. There's no specific one for each person. Normally with unscenes, you get like one person narrates a whole thing, but I wrote this one mostly as a joke. Somewhere between Montego Bay and the Cayman Islands, the Antelope spots an American ship. The ship is large and heavy in the water with gold, moving slowly so as to not loosen its stays further. Despite this, it takes 2 whole days for the Antelope to catch the American ship. Paint the scene for everyone. What are the crew members doing to try and speed up the Antelope?
I think they're sending. I think a crew member or two got the idea of sending another crewman overboard. Maybe the one that nobody else liked.
I love that. My brain
Yeah.
went in exactly that direction.
You said wait, and I was like, a person,
Yeah,
4 people.
absolutely. They are obviously a ship needs to be stocked in order to defend itself, but they are pushing off almost their entire stock of cannonballs in order to reduce the amount of weight on this ship.
There is a very beautiful, very expensive silk tablecloth in the captain's quarters. Very fancy just for him. And one of the crew members steals it and takes down one of the sails and stitches the silk tablecloth into the sail because it's a nicer material, so it must be able to help the ship go faster.
Listen, based on everything I know about ships, that sounds like it would work.
Yeah.
I imagine Tass is probably watching this right now and thinking, "Oh, wow, I no, that's terrible." Or maybe it's right. I don't know.
I
Oh,
thought I
wow, a
got
whole
all
bunch of
the
gift
alerts.
subs.
That was a loud one too. Thank you.
Lots of gift subs. Amazing. Oh, that's so nice. I love that. So, back to the RMS Chronos. Elga, the violinist, goes diving for the side of the deck, and you manage to wrap your arms around his midsection and hold tight. But the force at which the speed at which he was running, knocks you both off of your feet. You hear a sickening crack as he hits the side of the deck, and you feel the salty ocean air, salty ocean air as it flies across your face as you go straight down over the side and land in the ice cold water. It's only a moment until you start to feel the strange oar-like hands of these creatures with their strange little tentacle suckers start to peel off your skin in little bits, and all we see of you is a blood bubble from the deck of the ship. Would you like to mark a mask?
What a metal way to go.
Mhm.
No, just give me a second. I'll roll up my next cat. I'm kidding.
Yeah, let's go.
Listen.
You can play Captain Strom. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already
I'll give you
there.
the hat.
Yeah. If I call upon the threat mask, that means that we all have to do it, right?
You all have to do it, correct.
Would you guys be willing to do that with me?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fuck it.
Beautiful. If you go
All right.
back to the character keeper, I can show you again where the threat mask, if you go to the threats section, underneath where all of the clues and such are, the mask of the virtue. Now, you don't have to do this right now. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it. But each ballast class member narrates a time when they worked on something tremendously hard, only for it to be met with overly negative reception. So I'll give you some time to think about that. In the meantime, Elga, you manage to catch the violinist around the midsection and stop him from going overboard. But in that moment, as you grab him and hold him tight to yourself, he starts retching up miniature little cephalopods. They are coming out of his mouth in gallons of salt water. And he collapses to the ground, heaving. That is a clue. There's a nice little clue for you. So that is a capital C clue. A passenger retching up cephalopods. Now, Viscountess, you were trying to talk to the fellow first-class passengers, fellow fancy people,
Yes.
while you're extremely drunk, in order to find out if there was anything weird, strange behavior going on before these people started jumping into the water. And I think one of the first-class passengers looks at you. Her name is Antoinette. And she looks at you, and she has the most amazing jewelry you've ever seen. It's a perfectly matched set. She is not wearing every piece of jewelry she owns, unlike some people. And she looks at you almost disdainfully. And sighs, a long suffering rich person sigh. I suppose if you weren't around for when it started, well, the rest of us were. We were all in the ballroom, you see. We were all drinking together and having a nice time. I don't know where you were, probably with the second-class passengers. But we did notice the course for dinner had changed. Tonight was supposed to be lamb, and instead, the main course was sizable tuna steaks. They were quite large, you see. And that is a capital C clue. The main course for dinner was sizable tuna steaks.
Well, I assure you, darling Antoinette, I, of course, was in the middle of the ballroom. If perhaps you looked about and you didn't see me there, perhaps it was because I was admonishing my manservant Freddie for not properly tending to my garments the way that he should. That's very naughty of you, Freddie, I say as I nod to the... I should mention, always behind me is this just like 5'11", like hulking figure that is dressed in this very trim suit that I know to be my bestie, Winifred.
Fred just bows down very low and says, "I'm sorry, Mom, I'm sorry."
It's so hard to get good
Antoinette.
help these days, Antoinette. I'm sure you would know. I mean, if you happened to board the ship with your own servants, which I don't believe you did.
She looks at you, just down over her nose, says, but that's why your clothing is so shabby.
It's vintage, darling.
I would like you to mark, is it suspicion?
Yeah.
Yes, I would like you to mark suspicion. If you want to give everybody a little overview of what that does.
Sure, yes. I have my starting playbook move is called How the Other Half Lives. You've stolen the identity of your former lover, a minor noble, when they died during one of your midnight rendezvous. You've spent enough time with them to pick up on some of their mannerisms and are heading to America to start a new life. What detail is foundational so your identity stays intact? What opportunity are you hoping to capitalize on in America? As I mentioned in my intro, the detail that is foundational is the notion that the Viscountess Burgundy is a mechanical genius, and Charlie is not at all. And the opportunity I'm hoping to capitalize on is I'm going to become an oil baroness once I get to Texas. You have enough money and power to your name to make a new life for yourself so long as no one discovers the truth. Over time, people will notice faux pas and become suspicious of you. Whenever suspicion increases, either as the result of a move or because the keeper said so, mark a box below and describe what faux pas has tipped off a person finding you out. And I think this one is pretty clear, just in the way that she is clocking the fact that my clothes do not fit the way that they should for a woman supposedly of my station. And then if I fill out all of these boxes, something bad happens that inevitably results in the retirement of my character. But we'll talk about that if we get there.
Retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Retirement. Yes, there is a
I was
chance.
almost retired.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
Well,
you
I
almost
was
got
there.
retired.
That sucked.
This might still happen. You never know. Dr. Pierce, looking over the water, you are looking at these creatures, and they are oily, slick, and blue, and they have long, elongated faces with big, giant gills that are flapping. They seem to breathe just fine above the water, and you can see as they start to climb the ship with their sucker hands. You can hear them talking as well. They make strange sounds. They are clicks and whistles. And you can almost hear, when you listen very, very closely, something that sounds like a tuning fork playing in the wind. That is your capital C clue. A tuning fork sound is heard throughout the ship.
Is there a way for us to get the clues in our character keeper?
Yeah, I'm gonna paste them in as soon as I
Fantastic. Yeah.
get them transferred over to text.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. There is a section in the character keeper for clues. I'm just not good at splitting my attention so much. I'll put them in ASAP.
Yeah, no worries.
There is a problem though. As you listen to this sound, this tuning fork whistle, it starts to sound like a love song to you. And you start hearing the call of the sirens yourself. I would like you to change your man overboard condition to call of the siren.
I would like to keep that from happening.
How do you propose to do that?
I have a move. The stoker, start with a move. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. And it is a 3-tiered move. It's very cool. One of those tiers is you. So long as you are present in the scene when a fellow ballast class would mark a condition, I know you're changing the condition, but I'm hoping this counts. I get to mark my elemental track because I'm secretly an elemental. And I
What?
describe how my energy protects them. Can I do it?
I think you can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Describe how this is working.
So I think I'm probably hearing this tuning fork thing as well because the cephalopods just landed disgustingly in my lap as he vomited them up. And I glance around the ballroom to see where these unlikely friends are. And I think I notice maybe a glassy-eyed look in the doctor's eyes, and this fear strikes up in me. And I take a really, really, really deep breath, and I just kind of blow really heavily, like looks maybe like I'm coughing really slowly. But that sulfur smell and the scent of like a rich, damp loam, um, just kind of not wafts, it shoots itself across the ballroom towards the doctor, and I think he just kind of gets hit in the face, almost like it's steam. But it is from me, and I would like for him to just kind of shake his head and shake off whatever was about to happen to him.
I'll give you that for sure. Yeah, that was a really cool that move. You can
Awesome.
keep your man overboard condition. You are amazingly able to withstand the call of the sirens this time.
And does it? I imagine it's like is it like a foul sulfurous smell? Like you just hit me with smelling salts or something like that?
It's a weird combination of sulfur, which is pretty nasty smell, but there's also like an underlying like rich earth. So I think it's just real confusing. Like that smells bad. Oh, kind of good. No, that's bad. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
love that.
And so I mark my elemental track, and just like Kim, when my elemental track is used up, something happens to me.
Woo!
It's almost like you all got timers on your heads.
Mhm.
Weird. Back to the antelope.
I
The
remember the antelope.
antelopes.
I just had a
the an-
moment. I'm like, what? There's an animal on the ship? I completely, I
now there's an
completely.
antelope. But now I keep thinking because there was jokes in the Crit Show Discord today about pronouncing antelope like Penelope, and
Antelope.
every time I read that word, that's what I'm thinking right now, and I'm trying not to say it like that. So, thanks to whoever put that in there. We have fun on the Crit Show Discord. You should definitely join.
Mhm.
Um, the Antelope's weapons are cracked 4-pounder cannons, loud and effective against smaller ships. However, with one large cannonball, the American ship is able to stove them in. The Antelope pitches to the side, sinking, and Elsa Barrett, the captain, is crushed by debris. Only one young man from Sherbrooke, Nova Scotia, survives the sinking, although he loses his legs when the mast collapses. Paint the scene. Describe the scene in the ocean from the perspective of this young man after the Antelope sinks and the American ship sails away.
I think it's the sound. This young man is hearing the sound of all of his friends and crewmates that are screaming and choking and crying out for help and trying to save other people. And then one by one, all those voices fall silent, and it's just the sound of the ocean around him.
As he floats in the water, there is something in the water with him, not necessarily blood, but something that is dark and relatively inky. And so it looks like as he floats, there are just these clouds of not blood in the water, but it looks like it from a distance.
And internally, or maybe even in his madness, muttering to himself, he makes a promise. He makes a promise that he'll do better. He'll do better. Please just let me get there. I'll do better. And that's just what he mutters over and over to himself to stave off the quiet.
That's dark. All right. Back on the ship, people are still diving overboard. You're hearing screams, quieter now, as if they're floating away farther. You hear the strange clicking and whistling. I'm going to give you a clue just because I feel like it. And I think,
Hey.
free clue, why not? I think you see, strangely enough, along the deck, there are crew member uniforms and shoes neatly piled next to the ship railing on the port side. Strange in all of this hectic for that to be there. I'm just going to pop that into the character keeper for you. And at this point, you do have enough clues to get a +2 if you wanted to try to get the first question answered. You also have enough clues to try and answer the second question, but you would be rolling with a -2 on that one. Now, for everyone watching and listening, the answer a question move is when the hunters have an open, freewheeling discussion about the answer to a question once they gather the number of clues equal to at least half the question's complexity and reach a consensus. Now, the consensus part is key. You all have to agree on what you think the answer is, what you think the clues mean. Then you can roll plus the number of clues incorporated into the answer or explained away minus the complexity. So if you are trying to answer a complexity 2 question and you use 2 clues, you roll +0. If you use 3 clues, you roll +1. If you use 4 clues, you roll +2. It's the same Powered by the Apocalypse mechanic, so on a 6 or lower, you do not get it right and something bad happens. On a 7 to 9, if you get the 7 to 9, there will be an unwelcome complication, but you are technically correct. On a 10 plus, you are the correct solution. You do have the correct answer, and you can pursue the opportunity without a lot of problems. Are you interested in theorizing? Do you have any ideas about the clues? What they mean for either of the questions?
I was gonna leave it up to my veteran Unsinkable folks,
Absolutely.
my veteran the Between folks.
I have a bit of a theory about the source of the song, or like why people are being affected by it. And I can work 2 clues in. Like, I'd love to get like another one to help boost it to a positive number. But I think it's something about the food that was served at this party, like the origins of where it is, the fact that that the dinner was swapped rather unexpectedly, and then we had those people who were vomiting up like creatures of the sea. It was something in the food that was then like compelling these people to then throw themselves overboard. So then I feel like the solution is to get them either to like vomit essentially, or to like eat something else effectively, like to I am struggling to marry that with either the tuning fork or the uniforms and shoes in neat little piles. But that's my initial stab.
I guess I wanted more clarification. So I'm hearing there's a tuning fork, and it's sounding from the ship, throughout the ship. Yeah, that's
Unspecified. You can use
yeah.
whatever. If you can think of a way that you think works into the narrative, you can retcon it.
Yeah, it's just the way that when I hear sound throughout the ship, I hear it emanating from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, once again, I can tie that to dinner was changed, the noise is coming from inside the house, and then folks are currently on the ship vomiting. So I'm internalizing where the threat is coming from. We are a lure of some kind. That's where I'm at.
Okay, Percy, I love where you're at, and I'm gonna I think it's totally that. I think it's something that the passengers ate, and then the tuning fork that's being heard throughout the ship was some sort of kind of like sleeper cell, time for
Like
me
a
to
trigger.
Activate trigger. I
Yes.
gotta go throw myself
Very
off the
much.
ship.
I like the idea because you can even pull in. We don't have a clue like this, but you can even pull in. Maybe it's just first class passengers that are being affected.
Oh my
First class, because that's where the party was.
Good thing I only drank today and I didn't eat anything.
Good thing.
I know I was on the cigarette diet,
Yeah.
so I was all good.
What are you thinking, Susan? Do you
Dr.
have
Pierce is so skinny.
Yeah.
Do you have any additions to the theory? Do you have any theories contrary to this theory? What are your thoughts?
I really like what we've got. I'm a thinker, so I'm sitting here processing everything.
Underrated.
Sounded so haughty. I'm a thinker.
I'm not,
and-
so there has to be at least one of us.
So I'm stuck on the crew members' uniforms because we want to incorporate one more, right?
Well, that was 3, so that would be a
So we're at
plus
+1
1,
now.
because then and then we
Oh, you're
could
at
keep
+1.
the shoes for the next question if we want to.
Keep the shoes.
We keep
Hold
the shoes.
So the question is, what is the source of the song? The source of the song is a item on the ship which is making the tuning fork sound. That's what we want to go with, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like there's somebody
So-
on the ship causing this to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Can I make up somebody right now?
Sure.
I don't remember. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say no.
Because I'm like, the only other person I can pin it on is the captain, and we can't pin it on Strom.
No, not my mother.
No. So I think we have someone in first class, who was. Do we want this to be purposeful or accidental? Because he could have been doing some like sport fishing over the side of the boat and pulled up something. And
that.
but that lends towards like he's an idiot. He didn't quite know what it was, and he was messing around in his cabin with it. Set it off, it's making the sound, and everybody goes crazy. That seems very accidental. Do we want it to be more diabolical than that?
I don't know. It is like the penchant of the rich just to carelessly do stuff that makes like a nightmare for everybody
Yeah.
else.
That does sound
Yeah.
like rich people.
Hmm.
I like that. All right. Well, let's say there was a first class passenger who was doing some careless sport fishing and maybe even fished one of these creatures out of the water, and that's what caused all the sound. Locked it up as a trophy, and this is what's causing the sound. It's not a tuning fork, but it is the cry of this trapped creature
I love that.
that's calling and causing everyone to lose their minds a little bit with lust, and somebody caused somebody to swap out all of the food, which is causing everyone to get sick and throw up cephalopods, except for the people who didn't eat, or who were not eating at the dinner at the first class party. I like this. So now you have the opportunity to find a way to prevent any more passengers or crew from going overboard, in which case you can pursue that opportunity now.
Do we need to
Wait,
roll
we
to make
gotta
sure
roll,
we're
right?
correct?
Oh yeah, you have to roll it. Never mind.
I was like,
For some reason I thought you had
wow.
rolled it. Wow, you did it.
So
I'll take it.
generous.
We did it.
I'll
Yeah, we'll
take
take
the
it. We'll
win.
take it.
High
Yeah.
five, guys.
High
did
five,
it.
everyone. So I would like you to roll. This is a +1. Who would like to do this roll? Sometimes when it's scary, we have one person roll one and one person roll the other.
And we add them up.
Blitsies.
Percy, I think you should roll
No,
because this is
let's-
your first card from Brindlewood.
This is
Yes.
your
All
first
right,
time. Let's
you know-
do it, Percy.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what am I? 2d6 plus 1?
Yeah.
2d6 plus
Yes.
1.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
Should have been me. That's 6.
No!
That's a 6. Outstanding. Now,
That's a 6.
either you're wrong, you missed some critical clue, something else is happening, or you can all mark a different mask. Now, the mask of the threat is already marked, so we will have to narrate that at some point. I might get you to do that next time because I'm not feeling super well, so I don't want to run this one soon. But if you all mark a mask, you can bump that up to a complicated success. Or you can let things be super bad, which is also fun. I
What are we
love when the
feeling?
first question gets messed up. It's just so
Just-
fun.
I mean, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm super down to mark a mask.
You goddamn right.
Yeah.
Let's mark a mask.
Susan,
Everyone,
how are you
Let's
feeling?
learn about our characters.
Yeah.
Let's learn
Yep.
about our characters.
It's mask time.
All right, I'll give you minutes to take a look at the masks and see which one to mark. I'm gonna actually call for a little 5-minute break so that you can think about what your masks that you want to mark are. You can think about the mask of the virtuoso. You can even tie them in together if you like. And then when we come back, we'll narrate some masks and see how the solution has changed.
All right. We'll see you soon.
See you in 5.
We're back.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Who let this
Let's
happen?
hear. Let's hear some narrations. Does anyone want to give us a mask?
I'll go.
Susan, let's hear it.
I'm gonna fold both of them together. So the mask that I marked is my first mask of the past, which is the land is plentiful. Describe to us the countryside and your home. So the Eastern Europe is where Elga is from. And the camera opens up on this very, very dark and overcast day. That is what it is usually like here. The mountains are cold and are sharp teeth that cut into the gray sky above. But as the camera does a pan over this mountainous, rocky coastline of Eastern Europe, we see so much more green than we were expecting to. The places where plants can grow are abundant. We see massive swatches of root vegetables. Um, Beautiful flowers are growing around all of the very, very small hutches and houses that are there. It's clearly not the 1920s in this view that we are getting. Um, there's fresh herbs, tarragon, there's horseradish. There are children outside playing with the same color flowers in their hair. The land is rich and plentiful, and everyone seems so very happy. We see this family start to make a trek towards what looks like a goat path up into the very steep mountains close by. And um, before going too far into it, they set this basket full of flowers. There is a little doll that someone has created. There is pictures that have been drawn out of charcoal, and there's a as the family leaves we can see this carving, like a sign carving along this goat path, that says Belgvada's Pass. Time moves forward very, 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 very quickly, like one of those super fast motion things that we see in movies, and it is much more closer to modern day. And we see Elga sitting in the same spot where the basket was all those centuries ago, and she is writing something in a book, and you can see her face is scrunched up, super focused. Her hand is shaky, um, and she makes it to the very, very end of this book and she closes it. She looks around and waits. She waits until darkness, and then she comes down from this path. The smaller houses, hutches that we saw are much larger buildings. This is a city that people live in now. She goes to the outskirts of a house and tosses a little pebble at a window. And she sets the book down on the grass and quickly looks around and yanks up a flower and then drops it quickly on top of the book and then goes running to hide behind a mule that's a little ways off. We see a very, very, very small boy, like 3 or 4 years old, come sneaking out of the house, and he finds the book where it's laid with the flower, and he picks it up and he's delighted, and we see him waving kind of at everywhere and nowhere as though he's not sure who is looking, and he runs back in the house. Elga goes back and is very pleased with herself, and she enters into the pass and kind of vanishes. We don't quite see where she goes. The next day, as she exits, it's morning. She seems very happy, and waiting for her outside on the path is destruction. It looks like someone has taken a pickaxe to the path and destroyed it. There is refuse smeared on the sign that says Belgavada's Pass, and there is several notes written in not a 3 or 4 year old hand, in an adult hand, with threats. And Elga just kind of sits there in the same spot again where the basket was and puts her head in her hands.
Dang. Who would like to go? Who would like to follow that?
I will. I'll take a stab at it. I'll go ahead and do both of my masks. So my first one is my first mask of the past. Narrate a flashback to your childhood home. How many siblings did you have? Why did your father walk out on your family? And what did your mother do to survive? So travel with me, if you will, to a like dingy little flat in one of the worst neighborhoods of London, Whitechapel. This is the childhood home of Charlotte Yarborough. Her mother, Clara, was this stunningly beautiful laundress who made her living by washing the clothes of the very wealthy in London. So her childhood is one of just running through the 2 rooms of their tiny flat, and there just being all of these gorgeous garments all around her. She's an only child, which is good because there wouldn't have been much room for more than just the 2 of them, of Charlotte and her mother. Her father is a pretty distant presence. She doesn't see him often. He visits occasionally, maybe once every month or so, usually always at night. He's always very well dressed, like he just came from some grand dinner or the opera, and he brings her little toys and little presents, but it's very clear that Charlotte and her mother are just this man's little secret. But he just comes to see them and then goes back to his actual family. The last time her father visited, Charlotte was shut into the other room, and she just heard the stray catches of a argument between the 2. And when young Charlotte left the room, her father wasn't there anymore, and her mother was crying on the floor and said, "Your father has to go to America now, and you're not going to see him anymore." And that was the last that she ever saw of her father. That was also the last money they ever saw from her father. Then comes a period in young Charlotte's life where she watched her mother every evening get dressed up in these beautiful garments that she was laundering for the wealthy ladies of London, and taking herself to these society parties to try to swindle the rich and idle men out of their money. Flash forward several years to The Mask of the Virtuoso, which reads as such. Narrate a time you worked on something tremendously hard only for it to be met with overly negative reception. Charlotte Yarborough, a bit of a famed dance hall girl and Corrine on the burlesque stage, is finally making her stab at the legitimate theater. She has been cast as Lady Macbeth at the Theatre Royale's production of Macbeth. Everyone is convinced that she did a little bit of persuading in order to get a shot at that role. But she's studied tremendously hard to try to master the verse of this near foreign language that is Shakespeare. And she tries so hard and stays up all night and makes sure that she is word perfect. And when she performs, the reviews come in, and they read as follows. The young Miss Yarborough, while beautiful, is not a masterful Lady Macbeth. Her verse delivery is flat and featureless, which leaves a vacuum in this key role. Yeah.
Ouch.
I'll fight him.
Dang.
Who do I fight?
Yeah.
Woof.
Don't they know?
Punch real hard.
Well, I feel like the person who wrote that was the first one to dive off the ship.
Naturally,
The
yeah.
end. Dr. Pierce, what do you have for us?
Oh boy. Probably not anything as good as that, but I'll give it a shot. Uh my mask was to narrate a flashback to when you were a child. What did you want to be when you grew up? Why did you abandon that to become a doctor? This is a time before Dr. Pierce. This is the time of little Al, Alonzo. Alonzo always wanted to be a doctor. Growing up in Louisiana, he saw his mom, his aunt, and his father help people in the community, and doing so inexplicably well. There was always whispers of additional hearsay, hoodoo, voodoo, what have you. And Al never took none of that seriously. Al just thought his mama helps people, and I want to be just like mama. Cut to one day, a fancy, fast talking Frenchman comes in talking about a favor that he is owed. And mama tells Al, you go outside. You go play with your brothers, your sisters. You play with your family. Al wasn't too good of a kid. Al listens in on Mom and the Frenchman. The Frenchman whispering something about a debt repaid, a life not his. And Mama's eyes go dull. And the voice she whispers ain't hers. And from her mouth, she says, your life no longer yours. And with that, your success no longer yours neither. Yours and mine is one. A debt repaid one day. Mama's eyes go back to normal, and she blinks and makes eye contact with little Al, peeking from behind the door. Al, come here. Come to Mama. Al strides on in and walks on over and looks up and, yes, sir, Mama. What do you need from me, Mama? This here nice man is Mr. Dubois. He's going to be taking care of you from here on out. Now, you're going to be going far away, honey. You're going to be going far away for a long, long time. But you're going to succeed. You're going to succeed in a way that none of us here ever was going to. And for that, we're more than proud of you. Now go unpack. Go unpack and say your goodbyes. Our little Al, being a mom-fearing boy, much higher than God, he packs his little bags, and it's not much. And next thing you know, he is thousands and thousands of miles across the ocean with a bunch of fancy white folk that speak a version of his language. Now it ain't Cajun. It's supposedly the real French. What's actually supposed to be. And there's talks of education and purpose. And Pierce didn't know exactly what all that meant for him. And the title of doctor that he desired for so long was forced on him at the expense of his family forever. And I want to add, now forget this memory. and add a child-sized stethoscope to your cap and footlocker.
Oh, I forgot
Wait.
about that.
This
Wait,
is one of
what?
this is one of my favorite parts of this playbook.
What? What?
The doctor forgets their memories
Yeah.
as their masks are
You don't need those. You of the Strand, baby. What more do you need?
Am I allowed to swear, Kim? Am I?
Yeah.
Is
This
this a
podcast
family
is
show?
rated explicit. No.
yeah. Hot fuck damn.
Who wrote this game? I've got good news for you.
Who
Oh,
wrote this
man.
game? Oh,
You'll
I'm
see
gonna
them
lie.
shortly.
Just you wait.
Next week.
We are actually missing a cast member this week because they had to do some work, but we will have Wes Franks joining us as a cast member next week. So you will have someone
devil.
to yell at.
Bring
The
your
devil.
Bring your complaints next week.
Yeah, we'll take notes.
Percy, I swear to God, if you fail another roll and have to narrate anything else, I'm gonna find you.
It only gets worse. That's why I've noticed that it was like, all right, start with the first one, and then I read down and I was like, oh,
Oh,
it's
that's
his
why.
life in order. Oh,
I have fun masks. I don't know what everyone's.
I'm sure
Hey.
nothing bad will happen to you. Don't
it was
worry.
this or the doctor, and
Yeah.
the doctor, or not the doctor, the faithful, and that one wasn't good either.
Yeah, I know.
This one I could just like, hey, listen, at least I could traumatize everyone else.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Holy
so good.
moly. Okay, well, with that, we're gonna go back to our unseen, our final prompt.
Right.
No way. Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
In the future, 6 years after setting sail on the Antelope, the young man, now aged 23, returns to Halifax. Paint the scene, everyone. Describe some of his thoughts and reaction to being back in the port where it all started. Describe some of his thoughts and his reaction to being back in the port where it all started.
I think he is looking around and sees a child that he recognizes. Not quite recognizes, but he recognized them from a photograph that one of his crewmates was showing of his 4-year-old son and how excited he was to get back to his child, and he is watching that boy, now 10 years old, without a father, and he looks almost identical, albeit in a boyish way, to his friend who drowned on the Antelope.
As he is walking, he is introspective, he's lost in thought, and he has to duck very quickly, almost to avoid getting hit in the head by someone walking by. You know, in the movies where the two people are walking with something. That's what happens. And so as he ducks and then straightens up, the wind is almost metaphorically knocked out of him as this sense of deja vu washes over him, because that is something that almost happened to him as he was walking towards his ship 6 years ago.
And I think with that, he takes a seat at the edge of the pier or the dock or whichever, and as he throws his legs over to rest over the water for just a split second, he doesn't see the peg leg. He sees his leg. He sees himself whole. And when the illusion fades and he sees the hunk of wood that stands in for what he lost, he has a moment of gratefulness that was all he lost.
Dang. All right. Well, back on the ship, Captain Strom comes running out of their office or their captain quarter deck, the place where the captain hangs out, the bridge.
Captain's quarters.
Captain's quarters. Comes running out, yelling, "I can hear it! I can hear it! The song, I hear the song, it's in my head, it won't stop! It won't stop ringing!" And you see from the water, from the side of the deck, from over the deck railing, a long blue tentacle slides out, and with a swish and a slap, it lands on the captain, grabbing them and dragging them screaming off the ship into the water.
There goes our backup character.
That is the end of this session. Let's go to Stars and Wishes.
Dang it.
Now, folks, Stars and Wishes is a fun little way to debrief. Stars are moments you liked, a thing that was surprising, something you enjoyed, something somebody else did. Wishes are things you would like to see next time, things you would like to see more of. I can go first. I didn't take very many notes because I was so busy with everything, but those masks were absolutely devastating. All of them. They were incredible. I mean, I knew I got super lucky when I found out who my table was going to be, and I was just like, this is the best table I could possibly have imagined. But I did not expect that. Those masks were incredible. They were so good. So stars to all of you for that, for really bringing it into life and starting these characters off with such a bang. And also, huge star for Percy for jumping into the between with very little to go on. I had faith in you the whole time. I knew it. I knew you were going to be amazing.
You did.
But
so
I know that it's
You're nailing it,
intimidating.
baby.
Yeah, you're perfect. You're perfect. You're wonderful. As for Wishes, I can't wait for Wes to join us. I can't wait to see some vulnerable moves. That's for me.
Yeah, Star, I'm just happy to be here. It's been while I was like the chief evangelist of all things carved from Brindlewood on the Crit Show for like a while now. I haven't played a Carved from Brindlewood game like as a player since like 2022. So it's nice to actually be with Susan. I played in a campaign with Susan, and so it's nice to be in one of these games and roll dice. I was very anxious that I was gonna that I only knew how to GM this game, and I didn't know how to be a player anymore. So I was just really happy to be here. Stars for Percy for freaking nailing it. The Sinners vibes are so real, and I can't wait for more. Star for Amanda for going really hard on us, but in like a good way. Like I loved giving us all conditions out the gate was super fun. And I can't wait to do some vulnerable scenes that help mitigate that. I would love to challenge the Doctor to a innocent game of darts and see just how steady your hands are. But
my eyes are up here.
yeah.
Just steady your hands are. My eyes are up here. All right, come on.
I'm also I wanna do like a scene with Freddie. I want to get to know Freddie more.
Amanda stole my star for Percy. That because you could have like made your past terrible, right? And then forgetting it would have been like, well, that's probably good that he doesn't remember that. But no, you had to make it wonderful. So thanks. Star for Amanda for, oh my gosh, bringing in Captain Strom and then taking them away.
There's consequences for a 6 or 7 to 9.
Right, you are. Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. We don't know. Maybe tentacles. Maybe just want to have a good time. Star for Kim. I just want oh my gosh, I forgot your character's name.
The Viscountess
What's
Burgundy.
the color again? Burgundy. Yes. I just want Burgundy to nervous talk at me for like an hour. It's so wonderful. Like I'm like, this is great to listen to. I love it. Um, and wishes. I have some really great moves. I got to use one of them today, which was super fun. I'm looking forward to looking Amanda right in the eye and being like, no, it doesn't, and like protecting my fellow players, but also doing some of the other moves. I'd like to Hulk smash something in the future. So
Yeah, stars to all three of you for making me feel so welcome in this. I have been a nervous wreck all weekend because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have to learn medical terminology. I don't know what any of this means. And you have all made me feel so comfortable, and I had an absolute blast. So stars for the comfort. Wishes, yeah, cannot wait for some vulnerable scenes. Cannot wait for a modicum of human interaction that is not pure peril. And yeah, yeah, that's kind of it. Everything else has been great. And yes, I do also want to see Elga Hulk smash something
Yeah.
because hell yeah, big beefy bad babe,
Strong
love
lady,
it.
strong mommy, save the day.
Yes,
We love a strong strong baby, a strong maybe mommy.
we
Yeah.
love a
Oh
strong
my
maybe
lord.
mommy.
I've I've already lost complete control of my face. Well, with that, I want to thank the Crit Show for having us on. Big thanks to Kim for handling the tech and such like that, because I would not know how to do any of that.
Happy to do
You're
it.
incredible. Doing that while being a killer player is just amazing multitasking. And I know that you are an amazing multitasker, so thank you so much. Big thanks to all of the players and everybody who is watching and everybody who's going to watch. I really hope you enjoy this game. I'm really excited for when it comes out. So look for it in the Between Sons of Another World. It's going to be really fantastic.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, everybody, for chapter 1 of the Between Unsinkable. I'm gonna pass the baton real quick. Everyone, just remind people who you are, where they can find you, follow you, find out what you're up to.
I have been and continue to be Amanda. A lot of people know me online as I am a T-Rex. It is, in fact, I am a T-Rex and not I am a Trex. You can find me under I am a T-Rex basically everywhere. And I just really like hyping games. So if you have a game for me to hype or you want to hype about games with me, just look me up.
My name is Susan. I have a podcast. It's called Novel Games. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm also on Instagram. Still, sorry, not sorry. Neither right nor wrong. Come look at my animals and the food I cook.
I might be Percy tomorrow. I don't know. I still am not cool enough to have a podcast like all my podcast professionales here. But you can find me at Big Purse Universe. Pretty much everywhere, even in the night sky. Just look up. I'm there. Uh, Once again, former professional wrestler, current professional wrestling commentator. You can see him on Independent Wrestling TV, Fight TV. I got some matches on YouTube too. Check me out. Tell me how terrible I am.
And I remain Kim Dalton, unless I swap with my real life twin sister. But thankfully, we're super fraternal, so you'd know if I did that. You can hear a lot of me on the archives of the Crit Show. Also, if you'd like to hear some brand new Car from Brindlewood stuff, you can check out Kitten Marlowe, KITTEN MARLOWE. That is 2 words. It's based on Christopher Kit Marlowe because I'm a nerd for Elizabethan theater. And we're going to be premiering a brand new Let's Play of The Between, which is the game that inspired this game. So if you liked what you heard and you're like, you know what, I think maybe I'd like to take this same group of horny monster hunters but put them right in the middle of Victorian era London, go ahead and do that. I even gave a shout out to my own campaign. Shout out to Clara Yarborough, who is a side character in The Between, and who's my character's mother in this one, apparently. Things do not work out well for Clara.
What?
So yeah, our first episode of Shadows in the Smoke is going to be hitting Kitten Marlowe at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday. That is 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. My apologies to the East Coasters. I am a Californian. But you can find out more about that at kittenmarlowe.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks, everybody. We will see you all right here at the exact same place next Monday for episode 2 of the Between Unsinkable. Have a great week, everybody.